Hi, this is Dr. Joan Pastor from the Healthy Brain and Body Center of Beverly Hills. The response from a video that I had talking about testing young children and comparing IQ tests that are given at ages under than 6 to another very famous test that was done by Walter Mischel called the Marshmallow test got a tremendous amount of response from people. So let me talk a little bit more about this test. It is a phenomenal test. Now, originally what happened was Walter Mischel took a number of children at the age of 4 and he had them come into an empty room. The room was really boring. I mean, it was just basically a table and 2 chairs and a marshmallow. And what he did was he had each child sit down at the table. And, of course, the child, especially back in the 1960s, when they started the test, marshmallows were really big, just like Snickers are today. So the child wanted the marshmallow. And when the child would often ask, or when they were looking at the marshmallow, wondering, hungrily if they could have it, the researcher would all of a sudden pretend that he or she had this urgent errand to run, and they would tell the child that they're going to have to be gone 10 to 15 minutes. And if the child can hold off eating that marshmallow until the researcher comes back, then they will get a reward of 2 marshmallows. If they cannot hold off, if they eat the marshmallow while the researcher is gone, then of course they're not going to get another marshmallow. Now, after this test was done, after it was finished, okay, and a significant minority were able to hold off, which is called exhibiting delayed gratification. Now let me say a little more about this, because I talked about in the previous video that this was actually a better predictor of intelligence at the age of 4 than if you actually gave them an IQ test. And there's going to be some other researchers and people who do testing who are going to be very unhappy that I'm talking about this. However, why would the marshmallow test be such a good predictor? Well, when the researcher left the room, of course, these children were observed minutely. I mean, they watched very closely what these children would do. That's what's critical. Because you tell me, 10 minutes, 15 minutes for a child to just sit there, hungry, looking at a marshmallow, and to not take it, to not eat it? Is that going to be tough for a 4-year-old? You better believe it. I know every parent out there is nodding their head if their child is at least 4 years old or older, because they know. So, what do? Well, we observe. And we look to see, how does the child handle their impulses? How does a child handle that strong urge, that desire to take the marshmallow, when, in fact, they know there'll be a greater reward if they don't? It was amazing the things that children did. If you've taught your children nursery rhymes by the age of 4, or little songs or things like that, guess what? Those researchers heard just about every single nursery rhyme and song that you ever would have taught your children. They would take their shoes off. They would take their clothes off. They would get up and walk around the room. They would jump up and down, trying to see if they could hit the ceiling. In fact, a lot of kids would hit the walls. In other words, they would try to distract themselves. And what's good about that is that they were strategizing. And that's what we're looking for at the age of 4. Can a child delay their gratification? And if so, how? How do they do it? Well, there was many strategies. Every unique child that was able to hold off used their own unique strategy. But what's critical was that they were able to delay, and they used their brain. They used their intelligence. They strategized at the age of 4. Why is that important? Because as we followed those children, as they got older and grew up, we found out that they were able to use delayed gratification, control impulses, to do homework, okay? To study on tests when they didn't feel like studying. They were able to delay their impulses better in order to be able to get along with other people better. They had, in general, on average, better social skills. When they were taking their SATs, when they were taking their college prep exams, they also tended to score better. and they did well in school. In general, in comparison, when we contrasted them just simply to those children who gave in and took the marshmallow. Let me say one last thing. Now, just because these children were able to delay their gratification does not necessarily mean that all those kids who are able to do that are automatically smarter than those who gave into their impulse. Okay? It's just that in general, when we did track the two groups, we did find that the children who were able to hold off taking the marshmallow at 4 years old actually was a better predictor for their intelligence score in their teens than intelligence tests that we gave kids at the same age. This has been Dr. Joan Pastor. I hope you've enjoyed this. I'm from the Healthy Brain and Body Center of Beverly Hills. Please give us a call for any of your testing needs or clinical needs. The phone number is 310-892-0210.